Hello, this is Andreas, and today I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step process of the creation of a notification system. Well, the process is not that important, but I think this example is going to open your eyes to the potential of Microsoft Power Platform as the best tool in the market for business process automation. In the example that we are going to be based this kind of training today is, well, you can see here a SharePoint list where we are going to track different certificates for virtual machines or registrations in Azure, meaning that we are an IT organization and we are managing certificates. And here we basically have these certificates and the responsible people, the deputy responsible, the type, and the expiration date. This column is going to allow us to send automatic notifications to the responsible person or a set of admins, depends on what we want, when the expiration of a certificate is near due. The goal is that we will be sending an email like this one to the responsible, for example, with arrow per each of the items that are near expiration. And to do that, we will create a very simple flow with only 4 steps, which are going to consist on first trigger. Trigger is the step that will initiate the automation, and as you can see here, it's going to run every day at 8 a.m. And what it's going to do immediately is retrieve the items that are near expiration date. We will see the details in a moment. Create an HTML table and send an email using Outlook to, in this case, this person, but it could be, for example, the responsible or the deputy of the item that's going to expire. Okay, so let's start from scratch by building a new list. For that, we go to any SharePoint site that you have editing access. You can create a Microsoft Teams, and it will embed a site as a Microsoft SharePoint site inside of the Teams. And from there, you can go to the home by clicking to this photo over here and create a new list. You see that Microsoft here already has plenty of templates that you can follow, but here we're going to go for a blank list to understand the whole process of the creation of a list from scratch. We're going to set a name and we are going to put a certificate tracking. Okay, and yeah, we can put it here showing inside navigation. It will appear when we create it here in the left. Alright, so we have the list, and you'll see that when it's created, it already has a column called title. This is a mandatory column that every list has when you create one, and it's going to store a basic text field over here. Now what we want to do is start creating some columns to store the information that we want. And as you remember, we want to store the responsible, a deputy responsible, maybe the item type of which type of certificate we are storing here, and the expiration date, which is the key value. Now let's put here the responsible, and for that we're going to put the person column. This will allow us to select the person from the tenant, so for any of the colleagues that has a Microsoft account. And here we will just have to name it here, responsible. And here, well, to make it fancy, we can just toggle this to yes, show profile photos. This way we will see as a mini icon near the name, the photo of the user. Right, then it's just very easy to create the rest of the columns. I'm going to put directly this item type, which is a choice column here, over here, choice column. And here basically we're going to put a certificate type and add a couple of choices over here. For instance, Azure administration and VM certificate. Let's pick only 2 for the moment. And last, let's add a date code for the expiration. So expiration date. What we're going to do is do not include time. We only want the date, the exact date. Yeah, and that's it. Let's save it. And then now what we can do is put inside here a couple of rows. So we click new, and I'll just add, for example, a couple of certificates here. PNP PowerShell for, I don't know, document solution. Somebody from the tenant. I will select myself here, and it's going to be an Azure registration. Now we're going to set it for next Wednesday and save, and do the same for as many items as we want. Let's put a new one, the certificate, or now EFB, myself again, and it's going to be a beyond certificate. Expiration date is going to be next Monday. Alright, so we have already set a list with a couple of items over here, and now what we're going to do is jump into Power Automate.
We'll jump into Power Automate to create the flow that will shoot these notifications via email. So we open a new tab, and here at make.power, then go to PowerAutomate or powerautomate.com. Both portals will allow us to create this Power Automate flow. And let's not complicate things here and talk about environment solutions or anything like that. We are going to straight up build our flow with these 4 steps so that we can shoot these email notifications real quick. Now what we're going to do is create a flow jumping into these options here, my flows. And basically what we're going to do is create a new flow. And don't worry about any templates or anything like that. Just click here into instant flow and should skip, and let's create it from scratch to understand the whole process from the beginning. Now, first thing that Power Automate is going to ask you, this is the, let's say, the maker portal where you will build flows. And here, the first thing you need to do is add triggers. Triggers are, let's say, the initiator of this whole process that we're going to build. And what we need to do is search for the appropriate trigger in this case, because we want to react based on the expiration date. What we need to do is check which date it is today every day, right? So for that we need to put a recurrence controller here. Okay, you search for recurrence here, and the connector is schedule connector, and here you click into recurrence, and it allows you to configure the recurrence here. Just to highlight some options, the interval will be the unit of time, and the frequencies, well, you can put seconds, hour, days, weeks, month. Maybe you want to have a weekly review instead of a daily review. In this case, we will set a daily review, and here we can put the time at the hours that we want this to run. We could run this multiple hours a day, but at 8 a.m. is enough. Now the preview in human readable language is already saying us that it's going to run at 8 a.m. every day. Now what we want to do is, when this happens, query, search for the items in this SharePoint list that fulfill the criteria of renewal. We want to notify the persons that need to take care of the renewal of these certificates 10 days in advance, for example. Let's use that number. So what we're going to do is query the SharePoint list. And for that, we need to search for SharePoint over here. And yeah, you just click to highlight, and you can see here all the actions that you can do to interact with SharePoint. Plenty of them. Let's search directly for things, get items. Yeah, excellent. And this will get the items, query a SharePoint list that we select. Yeah, we need to select the appropriate SharePoint site and the appropriate SharePoint list. That's already getting this list from the site that we have selected. In this case, we name the certificate tracking list. And now what we want to do is get the list items that fulfill a certain criteria, which is that are 10 days from today. Their expiration date is 10 days from today, right? So for here, we need to use these advanced parameters. And in this case, we want to use the filter query parameter. Here, what we're going to do is use the OData query language to query this SharePoint list. And I'm going to directly copy paste this value that will be available for you in the notes of the course. So basically, yeah, I'm going to paste the value here. And basically what we're saying is expiration date. This is the column that we're going to filter, right? LE means less equals. And here we put a formula that says addDays, so that's from today at 10 days. And this is the format that we want the date to be retrieved, because this is the date, the format of the date that we use to compare against SharePoint date columns. Now what we want to do is create this HTML table to show in a nice manner, in a nice fashion, these items that are next to expiration date. For that, we just click into add a new action, and there's this thing it's called, you can search for HTML. I probably will, HTML to text that will create HTML table. This is the one that we want. And basically here in the from, we select, okay, what do you want to translate into HTML table? And here we want to check and select the items that we have just retrieved in the previous section. So you get items. This is the name of the previous section, and the values that are selectable here that fulfill the criteria that this action can get as an input. It's the body value. This is basically the list of items. It's telling you right here that we have retrieved in the previous section. Now here in these advanced parameters and columns, what we can do is map the columns that we want to translate into a table, and we can select it as automatic or custom. Better custom, because if you set it as automatic, it will map all the columns, and there are plenty of columns behind the scenes that we don't want to showcase. For example, the creation date, the created by columns that are available in SharePoint. Here, for example, if you add column and you want to show columns, you have plenty here that we don't want to share in the email. So we will only focus on showing these 4 columns. For that, we select the custom option over here and just start typing. So header first, which item, let's say certificate name. And here we search for the appropriate value to put here, and we're already displaying with the different options, the columns that we can use retrieve from these items, right? In this case, we want the title column because it's, well, this column over here, and then we will go with the rest, the responsible, certificate type, and expiration date. So responsible, and here we have different options. We can, if we type here responsible in the search box, you see that we have different options to select. Why? Because when we select here a person, you see this person and this people picker column, we have different options. This person has a name, this person has an email address, and these are the different options that we can get here. And well, for me, what it makes more sense is just to put here the email address. Now the rest are, we mentioned the type, right? So certificate type, and here basically certificate type value is the value that we want to put there, and lastly the renewal date or expiration date. And here expiration date, over here. All right, now we have our table ready, and what we want to do now is shoot this email notification. Before shooting the email, what we will do is search for the Outlook connector. Why? Because, well, we can send emails using Outlook, and here let's use this send email version 2 connector action, and you will be asked to create a new connection. Basically, you are telling Microsoft Power Platform what user will be sending the emails this particular action. And here, well, we can search for a person in the directory. For example, let's shoot the emails to myself. And a subject, we can put whatever, for example, items, certificates near expiration. And basically what we can do is just add here the output of the HTML table that we have just created. And additionally, what we will do is add some formatting to this table. Otherwise, you will see that the table is very raw, it's very black and white. And what we want to do is bring some colors in. And for that, you can see the value that we're going to copy paste in the materials of this tutorial. And what we need to do is click here, toggle the code view. So we are going to see the HTML body. So when we shoot an email, behind the scenes there's HTML code, right? So when we just type this email, let's for example put here hello, and put it in bold, and then add an enter, and for example, I now put some whatever here, hello 2, and let's put it not in bold but in italics, and you see if you toggle the view, you see that it's automatically adding some tags here. Strong is going to put this word in bold, and then the enter is going to add this backspace HTML tag, and then this I is for italics, etc. So what we are going to do is delete this and add this code over here, this style, and this is going to add some style, some CSS to this HTML over here, putting some style into the table and the table body and all the cells that will be displayed in the email. Alright, so what we're going to do is put a name here. So for example, automatic notification or certificate expiration, and hit save. And it's saved. Now we can test it directly, and to do that we hit test and hit manually, and now this is going to shoot and run this flow. Hopefully, yeah, it runs successfully. Now that you see all these green checks, this is signaling that everything went okay, right? And if you click, you can see the outputs of all these actions here, right? The inputs and the outputs. So for example, in the outputs in the body, here you can see all the items, title, and these are the items, internal information that all these rows, these items in the list, how it looks internally. And then here you can see how we are putting these internal values in this JSON formatting, and then this action is creating this HTML, and then also the send email notification. You can see here how everything is translated into, well, what email looks like. And here we go. This is how it should look like for you. We have the 2 items in the list, and we have these nice blue and gray colors for the table formatting. And this was it. You have created your first flow with a SharePoint list, integrated with SharePoint list, and where you are now sending automatic email notifications. I hope this small, quick tutorial opened your eyes to the possibilities that Microsoft Power Platform has. This is just the type of the iceberg, and well, congratulations for arriving this far. Thank you for watching me, walking you through these steps, and well, see you soon.